Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services at the Arizona Commerce Authority. And I'm your host today for the Small Business Boot Camp. It's Tuesday, March 28th, which I can't believe we're ready to end March. It's time is flying by. We're excited to have everybody with us. So we've got multiple states involved. We've got international attendees. I'm really excited to have everybody here. And for those that are new to the boot camp, we like to start by just recognizing our community partners. We cannot do our boot camp sessions without their time, their effort, and their expertise. The presenters spend a lot of time preparing, and we are very grateful for that. So the Small Business Boot Camp is designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow as we move forward. It is a statewide initiative supported by all of our community partners. And not only is it our webinar that we do every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., it is also a content library and a series of workshops that we do with our community partners. So let's talk about the content library. So since the inception of the boot camp in April of 2020, we decided to record all of our sessions. And so in the content library, we house those recordings, and we have actually over 250 recorded webinars and presentations in the content library. And we also have some of our longer workshops in there as well. So we've done some access to capital workshops with the Phoenix Business Journal and some others, and you can find some of those in that content library as well. You can find webinars on those 7 topics you see on the screen. We have a bunch of webinars in all different, all those different topics, those different categories, I should say, and you can access the recording, the content library at any time. You can always share the links with others. It is a tremendous resource to support small businesses wherever you may be. Also, for Arizona, the ACA has a number of programs that can help support you. We have our small business services, our workforce, and our Arizona MEP. I do want to say, because we have some people from other states and other areas, the MEP, the Manufacturer Extension Partnership, that program is a national program available in every state. Every state operates it a little bit differently, so you can access it there if you're a manufacturer. Also, each state has their own workforce programs, so you probably have something similar that would work. And then in our small business services, I work closely with the small business development centers and the other support service program providers around the state. And many of the states have some of those same programs. So your state may have similar programs that you can access as well at no cost. Now, one thing that most states don't have that we have that's awesome is the small business checklist. And this is an interactive online resource to help small business owners, entrepreneurs, and others identify the commonly requested local, state, and federal requirements for licensing, registration, and compliance. And this is an amazing tool that is years in the making. We continue to update it constantly to make sure it has the most current information, and it is a tremendous resource for those looking to do business in Arizona. Additionally, I want to share, we normally do updates here. I want to share this little piece here. This Friday and Saturday at the Phoenix Convention Center is the Franchise Expo West. So if you're interested in franchising or just want to learn more, they're having a big expo. There's going to be seminars on educational seminars, and you can go attend at no cost. You can use promo code ACA. I will be there along with SCORE and the SBDCs and some of the business service areas. And I will be on stage speaking on Friday at 11:30 as well. If you want to come and join me or heckle me or whatever you want to do, I'll be glad to see you there. And I'll be sharing some space with the small business development centers at that event. And again, it's no cost to attend, so please check it out. And then our upcoming sessions. So we've got a great lineup starting with today and continuing. I say a great lineup every week. We work hard to bring quality content every Tuesday morning. So you've got Know Your Target Market, contracting registrations. So the April 11th and 18th sessions are parts of our doing federal contracting. and state contracting, so you can get some of those government contracts if your business is looking to do that. So we're excited. It's a 3-part series that goes together, but each session is also great as a standalone piece to help you understand the different parts of it. So please join us for those. And then on the 25th of April, build your professional brand. So we've got a lot of great content through April and more to come. And then also every third Tuesday of the month, so our next one is April 18th, is our Spanish language webinars, our Spanish language boot camp. So if you know Spanish speakers that prefer to listen in there, send them that way. We're glad to do it. And we want to see that webinar series grow as well, and maybe make it more than once a month if we can reach enough businesses with it. So it's a great program. So with that, we're going to jump into today's session. We're really excited to have back with us Robin Reed. He's the founder and a community leader for Fluent in the Black Chamber of Arizona. I've been working with Robin on things for many years now. He's presented on the boot camp, and we present together at other events as well. I consider him a great friend and extremely knowledgeable in small business activities. So with that, Robert, I'm going to stop sharing. Robin, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you.
Robert, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. As Robert mentioned, he and I have worked on many things together, most recently including working on the Super Bowl Business Connect, where we, I believe, set a record for the number of diverse suppliers that contributed to a Super Bowl. What we created was something that we believe will become the blueprint for how the Super Bowl moves forward in years to come in helping minority-owned businesses and in all businesses gain opportunities to participate in a Super Bowl. I'm going to share my screen and get up here. And one of the things while I'm preparing that is to let everyone know the importance of staying connected to this entire ACA Bootcamp series. I know how hard Robert and the entire ACA team work on delivering this, and I know many of the presenters, and I'm telling you, you're getting really quality content, things that will help you succeed. So really stay connected to the entire program. And pardon my coughing, but it is allergy season, and I am one of the beneficiaries of that season. Okay, so Robert, can everyone see my screen to your knowledge?
Yes.
Great. So what we're going to talk about today is using S.M.O.G, S-M-O-G strategies to get a clearer view of your business. I know that we typically think S.M.O.G means cloudy, murky, and you can't see, but I'm going to explain to you how sales, marketing, operations, and growth strategies give you the clearest view of your business. So just looking at that, I talk to business owners all the time. I have truly mentored hundreds of businesses, and surprisingly, the majority of them don't know what sales is. They know what completing a sale might be, but sales is a transaction that includes an exchange of services or goods for a certain amount of money. That is a sale. So it's not a pitch. It's not an elevator pitch. It's not marketing. Sales is the transaction itself. One of the first things you need to know when you're designing a sales strategy is who you're going to sell your product to. One of the things I teach people, and this is my own methodology, but I tell them they have to know the difference between their customer and their client. In most cases, your customer and your client are the same person or the same entity. So for example, I go get my hair cut. I go in, they cut my hair, I pay. I'm the customer because I received the benefit and value of the service. I'm the client because I paid for it. However, if I can be the client, but not the customer. If I take my kids in to get their hair cut, they're the customer. They actually have to be the ones that are happy with the end result. I'm the client, I paid for it. The way to differentiate the two is important because of how you do your marketing. So when you're designing a sales strategy, you have to know who you are selling your product to. The biggest mistake I hear many business owners make is I ask, who's your customer or client? And they say, everybody. Well, the old adage in business is, if everyone's your customer, then no one is your customer. Because logistically speaking, if everyone is your customer and you have no competition, which is the other thing I hear, then you should have 100% market share. And your biggest challenge should be, how do you get all that money to the bank without hurting yourself? So really focusing on having a sales strategy. So step one in designing a sales strategy is clearly identify who is your customer and or client. From there, understand, why are they buying from you? Not why do you want them to buy from you, or why do you think they should buy from you, but understand, why do they buy from you? Price is only one factor. Sometimes it's quality of service. Sometimes it's a guarantee that comes with the product or service that you deliver. So you need to be crystal clear on why your customer buys or should buy from you. When you have that information at hand, you can start focusing on your marketing strategy, because now you know who to target and you know what factors to use when targeting them. So marketing is just the activities a company undertakes to promote the buying or selling of its product or service. So one of the things you will see, for example, in marketing, and I marvel at this every year, Saturdays and Sundays, for those that have young kids, Saturdays and Sundays, you will notice companies marketing to kids. They market to kids in between the cartoons and in ways that inspire the kids to run to the parent and ask for the product. However, at Christmas time, you will see a slight shift, and you will see the companies market to the parents. So you will see kid product marketed during adult programming, because they know it's Christmas time and parents now are in the mindset of buying gifts for kids. So you see that manufacturers of children's products understand that shift between customer and client, and certain times of the year, they market to the customer, and other times of the year, they market to the client. So having a marketing strategy refers to a business's overall game plan. Hold on, I've got Robert on my screen. Refers to a company's overall game plan for reaching prospective customers and consumers and turning them into customers of their product or service. A marketing strategy contains the company's value proposition, key brand messaging, data on the target customers' demographics, and other high-level elements. The bottom line here is, you have to know who your customer is, and then when you market to them, you have to market to them why you are the best solution for your product or service, given the myriad other opportunities they have. Why should they buy from you? So when you're thinking about, let's look at Disneyland. Disneyland, they know who their customer is. Their customer is someone who is connected to their youth. They want to have an experience either for their kids or that they recall from being a kid. And it is about being the happiest place on earth. That's how they market themselves. So everything Disney related is focused on customer experience. Conversely, Apple Computer isn't actually about customer experience. They're about innovation. So what they market to you is innovation. Apple doesn't put their products on sale, so they're not trying to beat anyone with price. They're beating everyone with their technology and with their innovative approach. They're very clear on who their customer is. If you look at how they market, they create such high demand, although it hasn't happened in the last couple of iterations, they create such high demand for their product that people sleep outside of an Apple store day or two in advance to be the first ones to get the latest product. Interestingly, if they sat tight for a week, they could walk into the store and get the same product, but they created such a demand for being connected to the innovation, excuse me, that they know how to market to their customers. So having a marketing strategy that is directed toward what your unique selling proposition is and who your specific customer might be. Operations. Now, this is where I see most business owners settle in. It's the work of managing the inner workings of your business. Doesn't matter what it is. This is what your business does. So if you own a restaurant, you make food and serve customers. That's the operations of the business. So someone has to open the store, someone has to cook the food, someone has to greet the customers, someone has to serve the customers. This is the operations. This is where I find most small business owners focus the bulk of their time. And there's nothing wrong with that, but without the other two, how do you get the customer in the door? How do you get them to refer other people in the door to benefit from your goods or services? So when you're creating an operation strategy, it refers to a system of organization implements to achieve its long-term goals and missions. It involves decisions based on multiple factors, including product management, supply chain, inventory forecasting, scheduling, quality, and facilities planning and management. So obviously, we'll continue with the restaurant analogy. Part of operations is making sure that your food products get to the restaurant in enough time for them to be placed where they need to be, whether it's a refrigerator, a freezer, tabletops. It's making sure your staffing is there in adequate time to deliver the value of your service to your customers. It's making sure that someone cleans the tables and all of the other things. Many companies don't have a strategy, they just have a methodology. They do what they do, but they don't have a strategy for how operations is going to work. So do you have a strategy in your business for how you're going to handle an absent employee? Is there a strategy? Do you have a system for what happens when that individual doesn't show up? Do you have a strategy for what you do if you, again, using the restaurant analogy, do you have a strategy for how you handle it if you run out of a popular food item? Do you have a strategy for what happens if a piece of equipment breaks? Because none of these things should cause your business to stop operating. So you need a strategy to deal with them. These are the things that business owners have to invest time in developing, because with a strategy, you now can attribute actions toward the achievement of that goal and that strategy. And here's the one that I see most businesses miss completely: growth. Business growth, it refers to the increase in company's size, revenue, market share, and profitability over time. Excuse me. And with that, many companies don't. They grow organically, but not deliberately. And so what's happening is you're doing more business, but you haven't made the provisions for that growth, whether it's adding staff, whether it's adding equipment, whether it's adding size, space. So to have a strategy as to growth is very important. Here's one of the biggest reasons you want to have a growth strategy. Because if your growth strategy requires your business to take on external funding, a loan, a grant, whatever it might be, there is a difference in how you manage your financial record keeping to prepare for that. So if you have a growth strategy that's going to require that you take in $200,000 in external capital for that growth, your accountant needs to know, your banker needs to know, your staff probably needs to know as well, because that might create opportunities. So, and they might need to know this a year or two in advance. For many of you that have reached that point where you've gotten, where you've received external capital, one of the things that is often the case is they want to see 2 years tax returns, and they want those tax returns to reflect profitability. And in fact, they want it to reflect sufficient profitability to service any debt that's created by this external infusion of capital. Well, if you have not communicated your growth strategy to your bookkeeper or accountant or banker, then they're probably doing their job, which is keeping your tax liability down by reporting the lowest possible profitability using the current tax laws. Well, that's great for you today. It actually works against you if you are looking to receive capital, because now you don't reflect sufficient profitability to service the debt that you're bringing on, and it's likely that you will be declined for that loan. So having a growth strategy in this case might be something that you have to enact a year or two in advance. So a growth strategy is an organization's plan for overcoming current and future challenges to realize its goals for expansion. Okay, so when we operate a business, our objective should be not only to create satisfied customers, generate revenue, and be profitable, but our goal should also be to grow and scale the business. When you're able to grow and scale your business, you find that you are not as susceptible to economic conditions. One of the things we saw in the pandemic was those businesses that did not have a particular growth strategy, when the pandemic hit, they were completely blindsided, and many businesses had to shutter their doors because they hadn't even positioned themselves to survive 30 or 60 days with reduced or eliminated revenue. Having a strong growth strategy is what helped many of the businesses that were able to show resilience through this. It helped them survive the economic downturn, because whether it's a pandemic, whether it's a rise in interest rates, whether it is any number of external factors that can impact one's ability to operate a small business, you're going to encounter them. They happen all the time. In all cases, they affect many, if not all industries, not necessarily simultaneously, but they do affect them. So having a growth strategy, as it says, plans for overcoming current and future challenges. It acknowledges that you're going to see these challenges, but having a growth strategy allows you to anticipate some of these. So it's remembering that every well-run business is going to have a separate strategy for sales, marketing, operations, and growth. These separate strategies should work together, obviously. You don't want to have a growth strategy that is incongruent with your sales strategy. You certainly don't want to have a marketing strategy that's incongruent with your sales strategy. And you don't want to have an operations strategy that doesn't complement the other. So these four strategies should actually complement each other. And if you ever find that your business is facing some challenges that you didn't anticipate, but they appear to be internal, I would encourage you, walk through the letters. Which of your strategies are you not implementing? Is it sales? Are you not clear on who your customer is? Is it marketing? Are you not attracting your customer through your marketing efforts? Is it operations? Are you selling great? You're marketing, you're getting them in the door, and then your operations are not running smoothly enough to deliver on the promise your marketing made to the client. And growth. If you're not growing, if you're not increasing revenue, then I would encourage you, walk back to your sales strategy and ask yourself, what am I missing here that is keeping me from growing my business? Because remember, there are many ways to grow a business. I can grow a business by adding products that I sell. I can grow a business by increasing my price. I can grow a business by adding additional locations. There are many ways to grow a business. Your growth strategy will dictate that. And now you know how your sales, marketing, and operations should flow to achieve that. I know this to many might seem basic, but I assure you 90% of the businesses that I coach, mentor, or counsel are missing at least two of these strategies. So I would encourage you, please take some time, sit down, write it down, have a strategy, and then begin to execute. I'd love to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, great presentation, Robin. And for all of the attending, this is a great opportunity to get some expert feedback from Robin. So at the bottom of your screen, you will see a box that says Q&A. Please post your questions in the Q&A. It helps us track them better. So we can make sure we get to the questions. or if we have too many questions, we can't get to all of them, we can respond afterwards. So please, again, post in the Q&A any of those questions that you have for Robin and how it relates to sales, marketing, operations, or growth. Robin, real quick, what's in your take, what's the difference between sales and marketing? I know a lot of people get that mixed up at times.
Well, so sales is clarity on who your customer is, number one. And then it's literally the product or service, the process of creating the transaction. So, and marketing is how you get that person into that opportunity. So if I am selling something to you, so for example, as you know, I'm an executive coach. Robert, if I was approaching you from a sales standpoint, what I would do is say to you, okay, Robert, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make you a better executive. I charge this amount of money. We go for this amount of time, and this is the outcome. I am at that point pitching you for sales. Your choice is to say yes or no and become a customer. Marketing is, how do I get you to find out that I'm an executive coach? So marketing is, how do I help my client identify the service I provide? Once I've identified the service I provide, how do I engage them to become a paying customer or client?
Excellent. So we have a great question in here as well from Becky. It says, how do you know when you're ready to hire an additional salesperson to grow sales?
I love that question. So when you are looking at it, well, number one, hiring an additional salesperson is a great place to be when you're growing a business. But you have to make sure that A, you can handle the additional business. So I would say first step is make sure your operation strategy supports additional customers and clients, because you may, as the owner or as the operator of a business that has one or two salespeople, now you want to hire another one. You may do that because there's more opportunities out there. That's a great problem to have, but you've got to have the back end of it as well. So the service after the sale, you don't want to bring in more clients if you can't serve them at the same level. So I would say first, make sure you have a strong operations strategy in place. Make sure that you are clear that you can handle and service all the back end work that happens after the sale. And then look at your situation and say, if this person sold at this level, what would that mean to the company? And if they do not perform, what would that mean to the company? There's a lot of factors there because it has to do with whether they're commissioned, whether they're salaried. Again, if they're salaried or salary plus commission, then one of the factors is you want to make sure you have funds to be able to support them until they can get their sales performance up to a point where they justify their existence as a salesperson on your team. So for us, before we bring someone on, we make sure that we have this is for my consulting company. We make sure that we've set aside 6 months of salary for a new employee. That's our starting point. And then from there, we determine if they come in and they perform at this level, can we handle the back end of the work? Do we have the operations team in place to be able to service that customer that they brought into our company?
Very good. So talking about sales, I forgot to mention it earlier, but this webinar is part of the Seed Spot Startup Spring Training Program. And so if you're on here because of the Seed Spot program, your code word is sales. So to get credit for this session for that program, you need to know the code word sales. Some of you might be watching the recording of this webinar, so you need to know that code word as well to get credit for watching the recording. So again, the code word is sales. So with that, we're going to jump in. We got another great question. It says, any recommendations for doing competitive analysis for software?
Competitive analysis for software.
So I'm assuming they're a software startup.
Okay.
To do a competitive analysis.
Yes. I mean, advice, obviously, be honest with yourself. If you're going to see who your competition is in your particular space relative to software, be honest with yourself. If someone has a better product, figure out how you can improve your product. If someone has a better price, determine whether or not you're going to compete with them on price, or if you're going to make them compete with you on quality. So I'm a big fan of, especially as it relates to software, and I do have a background in that area. You know, anytime I'm comparing myself to something software related, I try and test theirs out. I see if there are things in it that I would make better for myself, and then if it's your own company, make that part better. And I think this goes beyond software as well, Robert. I think that every company should do a competitive analysis. Every company should know who their competition is and where they are different from their competition. So we actually call that differentiation strategy, right? How are you different? And then make sure you're marketing that difference. So yes, you should do a competitive analysis. And then when you are clear on where you are different and hopefully better, that should be the leading point of your marketing, because then your competitor can't compete with you in that space. They've got to come at you from price or something else. But I would always say, you know, be honest with yourself. If someone has a better product or service than yourself, step your game up so that you can be a better competitor.
Excellent. We have another really good question here. It says, how do you recommend a business determine which strategy should be priority if they feel everything needs attention?
Okay, so they do all need attention. However, I would honestly say take them in order. Sales, know who your customer is. Don't think that someone's your customer because that's who bought the first one from you. Think long lasting, right? Who is my customer and why did they buy? You know, we buy so many things on the internet, and then companies send you those reviews. You know what they're doing with that? They're getting more and more granular as to why you were a customer so that they can refine their marketing. So first and foremost, know who your customer is. If you own and this is just an easy example to give, but if you're a restaurant, your customer isn't everyone who eats, because some people are vegetarian and some people are a vegan, and others are, you know, good old fashioned home style, and they just want, you know, steak and potatoes. So you got to know really who your customer is. So I'd always say take sales first. Because if you don't have sales, you don't have a business. You can market till you're blue in the face, and if no one ever buys from you, you do not own a business. You have a hobby, you have an idea, but you don't have a business. Businesses generate revenue, manage expenses, and create profit. If it does not create profit, it's a hobby. Hobbies cost money, businesses make money. So start with sales. Once you believe that you have identified your client or customer, then focus on marketing, because that's going to tell you if you were right. If you are marketing to exactly who you think your customer is, they're going to respond to your marketing. If they're not responding to your marketing, you might not be correct as to who your client or customer is. Once you have clients, once you have sales, once you know how to market to bring them in, operations becomes organic. You have to have operations. You've got to be able to serve that customer in whatever your product or service is. Growth is always last. You can't grow a business that's not making anything. You can't grow a business that doesn't have a clear idea of who the customer is and how to bring them in, because the best companies in the world can modulate their marketing to have more or less customers when they want to. I used to, years ago, I developed a corporate sales division for the fitness chain 24 Hour Fitness, and they were masters of marketing. They knew how to turn on and turn off their marketing efforts to in specific market areas to increase or decrease the flow that was coming into their location. So if you had a smaller gym that couldn't take on more people, they would ratchet back the marketing so that they didn't overload that gym, because of course, if you have too many people in there and people don't get to use equipment, your sales aren't going to do well. People are going to be unhappy with your product or service. So I would say take them in order. S.M.O.G, sales, marketing, operations, growth.
Excellent, thank you. Another one says, can you share tips on how to market to business or business to government? Before you answer real quick, I will say that we have our business to government, doing business with the government series. Last week was our first. It's recorded on the content library, and next week and the following week are the next two sessions. So I would definitely check that out. But marketing to business and business, I'll let you hit that too, Robin.
Okay, and so I will tell you, number one, that answer was probably going to be something close to mine, right? I know how to market for my businesses because I know exactly who my customer is. I don't have a generic or all-encompassing answer on how you market business to business, other than to say it's kind of the same thing. Who's your client? Who's your customer? Start there. I find that many small businesses, when they're trying to market business to business, they spend a lot of time engaging someone who can't make the decision. So my best advice, and I've sold business to business for over 40 years, and I will tell you honestly, I ignored the advice and it was given to me the first time. I did not ignore it the second time. The first time, what I was told was, I was told, don't waste your time if the person isn't a decision maker or can't directly connect you to the decision maker, because you will find an employee, a supervisor, a manager. They may be really excited about what you do, but they don't write the check and they don't make the yes or no decision. If they're not going to put you in touch with that director, VP, or president or C-suite person who is the one who's going to write the check, then you still don't know who your client is. And so I would say always invest the time in knowing who your specific client is. So if you are selling, tools to a contractor, you don't want to spend too much time talking to the person that answers the phone for the contracting company. They don't use any of the tools, and they're going to spin you around for quite a while before they give you to the right person. So what you want to figure out is, in that organization, who buys the tools? Because the person who buys the tools may not be the person who uses the tools. You want to know who buys the tools. So it still comes back to your S.M.O.G strategy. Know who your customer is. So business to business is a very broad term, but it really is going to end up being salesperson to supply manager or individual who makes the buying decision. So again, get very specific as to who your customer is. You may have fewer people to talk to, but you will also spend less time getting more business.
Excellent, thank you. And so for an example, I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Sure.
And to show everybody. So on here is our content library, and I click to sort for marketing for growth, the marketing category. And you can see we have 65 webinars we've done that are recorded on here that you can identify. So developing a marketing strategy, the digital marketing for session, that's actually a really good Google My Business presentation, cultural framework. We've got a bunch of different marketing pieces in here. So definitely check it out. It's here as a resource. There's a ton. You can see in 65 different options you can look at to help support that. So we do have a few more questions in here. So you said, any suggestions on how to scale a one-on-one consulting biz in the holistic wellness business?
So one-on-one consulting. Well, so one way to scale a one-on-one consulting business, the easy way, is to develop a separate part of that business that is a one-on-many consulting business. So you can do one-on-one coaching consulting, or you can do groups. So it's a way for you to offer someone maybe a slightly discounted rate for your service, but now you've got 10 people in the room. So you're still making quite a bit more for that hour worth of effort or 2 hours worth of effort. So that's one easy way. Another way is to expand your business to where you have more than one consultant. That takes a little more time. Obviously, you have to protect yourself against that person just taking business from you and being you don't want to hire your competitor. But the easiest way is scale. Go one to many. And you can still continue to offer one-on-one. People will still buy one-on-one, but you can do one to many. You can do groups. And then I'm sorry, what was the other question? It was about wellness.
It was just it's a holistic wellness business. So to help grow it.
I think to grow a holistic wellness business is interesting. I was having lunch yesterday with someone who is a yoga instructor, and we were having this conversation about wellness and the importance of it. I think when you're growing that business, again, it depends on the format in which that is delivered. Ask for referrals. I think that is still the biggest thing that is overlooked by small business owners. They forget to ask a happy customer for a connection to someone else to make them a happy customer. And it's actually true of everything. In sales, I've never met a salesperson who knew how to consistently, as part of their sales strategy, ask for referrals. Probably that's your easiest one right there. In sales, if you don't know how to ask for referrals, then you're not happy, then you're not confident that you've delivered a quality service. Change that. Be confident that you've delivered a quality service, then ask for referrals. So that's one easy way to do it. Obviously, sharing any results that you're creating for people. Did you, in your holistic wellness, did you help someone get off of medications? Obviously with doctor's permission, but did you make them well enough through a holistic methodology that they were able to get off of prescription medications? If you do that, market that, let people know, because there's an entire collection of people out there who want to get off of medications. And if there's another solution that they weren't aware of, something like that is going to spark their interest.
All right. We got one more question in here, and this is a good one. And this is something that Robin, you and I have talked about personally. We've talked about it in groups. And it's probably a great way to be a last question with this session. It says, this is from a commercial banker asking this question. So I have spoken with many small business owners who lack a solid banking relationship. Can you speak on the importance of this for the growth strategy?
That had to be a setup question.
I promise you it's not, but it's a great one.
Because Robert, you and I know we have been having this conversation for years. So whoever the commercial banker is, thank you. Thank you. That is such a phenomenal question. So here's the deal. I have said this for the better part of 35 years. When you leave the Arizona Corporations Commission with your freshly minted LLC, after you've gone onto the IRS website and you've gotten your EIN, your employee identification number, basically your business's social security number, your first stop should be at a bank of your choosing. And don't just go in and open an account and then live and breathe off of the debit card connected to the account. Get to know your business banker. The bank assigns you a business banker. Build that relationship. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail as to why. Number one, your business banker probably knows more about your industry than you do. Maybe not your specific business, but probably knows more about your industry than you do, because they've got several clients of the bank that do what you do. They can tell you trends they're seeing. They can tell you whether or not there's been challenges with those entities getting external funding. They can tell you whether or not there's market saturation. I'll give you an example. We did something just before the pandemic with a regional bank, and we had the senior vice president, second in command of this bank, flew in from Dallas to come to our capital readiness event. And he told the story of how the cupcake boom, when it was hot and heavy, right? Everybody in the world knew how to make a custom cupcake. And so everywhere you could see, somebody popped up a new cupcake shop. And they did an analysis and said, we're oversaturated in that market. We've got too much money out on this one industry. Even though the business is qualified, their analysis said we might lose money and the businesses might lose money because there's just too much competition inside a very small market segment. So he was able to tell someone who came in for a loan for a cupcake business, we're seeing market saturation. We're starting to see sales revenue drop because there's just too many. He didn't say no to the loan. He said, do you have other products that can set you apart from just being another cupcake shop? And they did. They had cookies, they had cakes, and he convinced them to expand their product offering. He did loan them the money, and the business is still thriving now, and less than half the sales are cupcakes. That's the benefit of a quality commercial banker, is they can help you navigate through things that you wouldn't see on your own. Also, make sure, remember, that commercial banker is someone on your team. You're the team owner, you're the team captain. You want to make sure your banker's on your team. You want to make sure your financial professional's on your team. And depending on the type of business, if you need a legal expert, you want to make sure you have a legal expert on your team. And if you have anyone else, a consultant, an advisor, someone like that, make sure that your team talks to each other. Don't leave your commercial banker out there on their own while you're telling your CPA something different and your lawyer something else. You know, with us, we bring our team together at least twice a year. And we just say, just checking in, whether it's a Zoom call, whether we take them to dinner, but we bring them together to say, this is where we are. This is what our growth strategy is for our business. We're thinking of bringing on this technology to help support what we do, thinking it will create this result. And we let our team contribute with feedback and experience, and they challenge us with questions. So yes, I think that, and Robert is so correct that we've talked about this many, many times. I think having a relationship with your business banker is vital to your long-term success. So when I ask, who's your business banker? Don't tell me the name of the bank. Tell me the name of the banker. And you really should know at least their direct line, if not their cell number. But that, I promise you, will be a game changer when you look to grow and scale your business.
Excellent. Great response. I knew you'd respond well on that. And that's a perfect kind of segue to wrap up. And we're going to wrap up and give you 10 minutes back to your day. There's nothing wrong with having a short, sweet, focused boot camp. We love those. So, and we had some great questions. So I want to thank all of our attendees for your great questions. Those questions add significantly to the quality of a webinar such as this, by being able to narrow down to help you with those. So thank you very much for sharing your questions and your insights. Thank you, Robin, for being part of this and sharing your expertise with everybody. And with that, we will just remind everybody, next Tuesday morning, we will have another boot camp. Again, every Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. You can go to our website and register for those. We have tried to keep the following month or two listed on there so you can find future ones that you may like. Until then, have a great week. Enjoy the great weather we're having out here. If you're from another state and you want great weather, come to Arizona for a week or two right now because it's wonderful.
Hey, Robert, can I share something real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, and as you mentioned, this is connected to the SeedSpot sales series. I encourage you, please stay engaged with the great work that SeedSpot is doing. I was just on a call with them last week, and I'm excited to be one of the mentors in their ongoing program. So I may encounter some of you during the mentorship process as well.
Very good. Thank you, Robin. And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Everybody have a great day, great week, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thanks.